See the difference? When we
Yes.
begin, when we begin to look into these words more deeply, we find so many things. Sri Aurobindo has completely redone the English language in many, many ways. So this perilous music is far melody. It's rapid and grand, and it's the song of a centaur. Now, in Greek mythology, a centaur he was a monster, but he wasn't, I remember, so bad a monster. He had the trunk of a man and the body and legs of a horse. And he would sing. And he would sing so beautifully. They would live in the forests, and they are representative of the wildlife, of the animal desires, and even barbarism, but not so negative a way. But it is definitely this perilous music that is very far melodied. In other words, you hear it from far away. It's rapid and grand, and it's the song of a centaur. But then he says, or it could be something else. It could be soft as water, plashing. Plashing is spilling very, very gently but musically, flashing mid the hills, or even as mighty as a great chant of many winds. When the winds, I've been on the sea when the winds were almost capsizing a boat, and I saw 200 feet. That's about what? About 180 meters. That big around redwood logs break off the ship like toothpicks until the entire deck was bare.
Oh,
The winds have tremendous power, but here they're chanting. So we have the centaur song, we have the water plashing, we have the chant of many winds. And why is all of this in Narad's vocabulary? Because he's seeing Savitri, and he's seeing her as so beautiful that he's ecstatic almost. So let's go on and feel that ecstasy.
does he know who she is at this point? Does he know that she is the great mother?
Does he know what?
Does he know that she is the divine mother?
Narad knows everything. He's come from the supermind down to earth, and Mother has seen him coming from the supermind down to earth. And yet, Sri Aurobindo says to Narad, I don't know much about that. But Mother has seen him, and then he writes two cantos on Narad.
Moon bright, thou livest in thy inner bliss. Thou comest like a silver deer through the groves of coral flowers and buds of glowing green, or fleeced like a wind goddess through leaves, or roamed, O ruby-eyed and snow-winged dove, flitting through thickets of thy pure desires in the unwounded beauty of thy soul.
There was one word that is not contracted. Roamst and fleetst, you said right, but it's comest,
Come.
not comest.
Okay.
See, we have to look so carefully at the spelling of each word. Thou comest like a silver deer through the roads.
So,
Got it. All right.
yeah.
So now he says that she's moon bright because the moon despite our going on it. And I've heard recently that there were moon people who told the astronauts, don't go too deeply into our space. I don't know if that's true, but I've read it. Anyway, my mother said that there were people who came from the moon. She said the Chinese
Chinese, yes.
from the moon, yeah. And because the moon was so rigid, static, cold, she said their feelings, and that is why they developed all these horrible types of torture, so that they could feel more. Interesting. I won't go into it in any depth. Let's go back. Moonbright, thou livest in thy inner bliss. And then he begins this poetic thing that you come like a deer through groves of coral flowers and buds of glowing dreams, or you fleeced here, contracted, like a wind goddess through leaves, or roamst, and then he calls her, oh, ruby eyed and snow winged dove. How beautiful. Flitting, when the dove flits and the bird flits, they go like this.
Yeah.
They don't fly exactly. And but he says, flitting through thickets of thy pure desires in the unwounded beauty of thy soul. And now he comes, and now he has much more to say.
These things are only images to thy earth, but truest truth of that which in thee sleeps. For such is thy spirit, a sister of the gods, thy earthly body, lovely to the eyes, and thou art kin in joy, heaven's son.
Much better. Okay, now he goes on saying that these things are only images to thy earth. These things that she seems to be, the music of these far melodied and rapid centaur song, or the water plashing through the hills, or the chant of the winds. And he says, you live in this inner bliss, but you come like a silver deer through groves of coral flowers and buds of glowing dreams, or fleest like a wind goddess through the leaves, or roamst, O ruby-eyed and snow-winged dove, flitting through thickets of thy pure desires in the unwounded beauty of thy soul. These things are only images to thy earth, but truest truth of that which in thee sleeps. For such is thy spirit, a sister of the gods, thy earthly body, lovely to the eyes, and thou art kin in joy to heaven's sons. Now he's going to carry on with this wonderful greeting as Savitri has just entered the palace. Don't forget, she's just descended from the chariot. The horses have stopped. She gets down. She enters her father's palace, and there is Narad seeing her and exclaiming all these marvelous things just at the first look of her. Okay, O thou.
Thou who hast come to this great perilous world, now only seen through the splendor of thy dreams, where hardly love and beauty can live safe, thyself a being dangerously great, a soul alone in a golden house of thought, has lived walled in by the safety of thy dreams.
he's hinting a little bit here, just a tiny hint. It says, now you've come to this great perilous world. And remember, our first line was life's perilous music. Ah, so he uses perilous twice here, very intentionally, because he is hinting gently that she has come to this perilous world, but she only sees it through the splendor of her dreams. But then he says, in this perilous world where hardly love and beauty can live safely. Whoa. And now he says, thyself a being dangerously great, a soul alone in a golden house of thought, has lived walled in by the safety of thy dreams. So he, of course, Ashwapati is a sage. It's Sri Aurobindo, of course, in one of his aspects, one of his emanations. And he's telling us here that Narad sees everything. And he's speaking to her so beautifully, but something is seeping through. And now we're going to find out what that is.
On heights of happiness, leaving doom asleep, who hunts unseen the unconscious lives of men. If thy heart could live locked in the ideal's gold, as high, as happy might thy waking be, if for all time doom could be left to sleep.
Ah, so of course Ashwapati has picked up on this very, very immediately. So he says now that on heights of happiness, leaving doom asleep, and doom is the guy who hunts unseen the unconscious lives of men. Next line, you see, that's doom he's talking about. Got it?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go slowly because I want you to tell me this whole story when we're finished. I'm going to put it to you tonight. If thy heart could live locked in the ideal's gold, if as high as happy might thy waking be. So he knows she's not awake yet because he hasn't told her yet that Satyavan's going to die in 1 year. He hasn't given any of that except these little tiny hints that we're hearing. If for all time doom could be left to sleep. Now, we just read on heights of happiness, leaving doom asleep. See, he used doom twice, and now he says, if for all time doom could be left to sleep. Now, we're going to see what really is, what Narad really is saying, but he's holding back his knowledge from words. Okay, he spoke.
He spoke, but held his knowledge back from words. As a cloud plays the lightning's vivid laugh, but still holds back the thunder in its heart, only he let bright images escape.
Ah, so we know already now that Narad knows everything. He's holding this knowledge back from words. He's not speaking it, not saying anything. And it's like a cloud that plays with the lightning and lightning's vivid laugh, but it still holds back the thunder in its heart. Only he let bright images escape. Now, a little bit more.
His speech, like glimmering music, veiled his thoughts. As the wind flatters the bright summer air, pitiful to mortals, only to them it spoke of living beauty and of present bliss. He hid in his all-knowing mind the best.
There we are. Okay, so He's being very careful here. After all, he's visiting the king and queen. They've had a wonderful afternoon together. Savitri shows up, totally uh, enamored from her meeting with Satyavan. And he greets her with all these marvelous phrases and lines. But he's only letting bright images escape. He's being very careful. His speech is like glimmering music that veils in his thoughts, just like a wind that flatters the bright summer air. You know, the summer air here in India, of course, it's North India we're speaking about more than South India here, because this is Madra and it's in the north. And so it's a very hot air. And when the wind blows, it flatters that.
To those who hearkened to his celestial voice, the veiled heaven's pity throws on future pain. The immortal sanction seemed of endless joy. But Ashwapati answered to the seer. His listening mind had marked the dubious close. An ominous shadow felt behind the words, calm, like one who ever sits facing fate, here mid the dangerous contours of earth's life. He answered covered thought with guarded speech. O deathless sage, who knowest all things here, if I could read by the ray of my own wish through the carved shield of symbol images which thou hast thrown before thy heavenly mind, I might see the steps of a young godlike life happily beginning, luminous-eyed on earth, between the unknowable and the unseen, born on the borders of two wonder worlds, it flames out symbols of the infinite and lives in a great light of inner sun.
Complicated passage.
Yes.
So, to those who listened to Narad's celestial voice, uh, it seemed that the immortals were sanctioning endless joy. Because this veil that heaven's pity throws on future pain seems that the immortals are sanctioning endless joy, but it's not so. And Aswapati immediately knows this. But Aswapati answered to the seer. His listening mind had marked the dubious close. And that's an interesting statement, that dubious close. When he closes and he says, pitiful to mortals, only to them it spoke of living beauty and of present bliss. He hid in his all-knowing mind the rest. So we see now, Aswapati has caught it. And it marked the dubious close, doubtful close, and an ominous or fearful shadow he felt behind the words. But because he's a sage, he's calm, like one who ever sits facing fate. Here amid the dangerous contours of Earth's life. Contours here is, you know what a contour is,
Yes.
and here we have contours in Earth's life. We have happy moments, sad moments, moments of death, moments of birth, moments of beauty, moments of ugliness. We could go on and on. But he answers Narad and Narad's covered thought with very guarded speech. He's extremely careful here. He doesn't want his daughter to catch this. or his wife, who's a very, very intelligent queen. And we're going to have a whole canto where his wife challenges Narad on everything in the word of fate. So, O deathless sage, who knowest all things here, if I could read by the ray of my own wish through this carved shield that Narad has put up of symbol images. And then he says, which thou hast thrown before thy heavenly mind, I might see the steps of a young, godlike life, happily beginning, luminous eyed on earth. Between, and then there's a semicolon, between the unknowable and the unseen, and we'll do the unknowable next week, born on the borders of two wonder worlds. It flames out symbols of the infinite and lives in a great light of inner suns. So what he's saying that is that, I know what you've done, Nara. You're holding something back. And later next week, we're going to see how beautifully he states that he sees a cloud over Satyavan's head, and he says, "If this is all, this is from my mind. I'm not reading it. If this is all, then all can surely be well. If there is more, then all can no. If this is all, then all is well. If there is more, then all can still be well." See,
And
so
still be well.
he's sort of playing a little bit with Narad here too, saying, I know what you're hinting, but I know that you're hinting something. I don't know what it is, but I see this shadow. He's not speaking it; he's feeling it, and he's feeling this shadow, and he says, "If this is all, then all can be well. All can still be well." Um,
Yes.
because
He's,
because at the end he says, "Only for good the secret will can work."
he
Now,
says this to Savitri, right? When Savitri says, I have chosen Satyavan and I have carried out thy will. And then he
well,
says,
now
so
we have
beautiful.
now you have to read everything from the beginning, from page 420,
Yes,
and make me
yes.
understand and feel the whole experience of Narad meeting Savitri for the first time.
Thy perilous music rings yet to thy ear far melodies, rapid and grand, a center of song, or soft as water plashing mid the hills, or mighty as a great chant of many winds. Moon bright, thou livest in thy inner bliss. Thou comest like a silver deer through groves of coral flowers and buds of glowing dreams, or fleeced like a wind goddess through leaves, or roam, O ruby-eyed and snow-winged dove, flitting through thickets of thy pure desires in the unwounded beauty of thy soul. These things are only images desire, the truest truth of that which in thee sleeps. For such is thy spirit, a sister of the gods, thy earthly body lovely to the eyes, and thou art kin in joy to heaven's sons. O thou who hast come to this great perilous world, now only seen through the splendor of thy dreams, where hardly love and beauty can live safe, thyself a being dangerously great, soul alone in a golden house of thought, has lived walled in by the safety of thy dreams. On heights of happiness leaving doom asleep, who hunts unseen the unconscious lives of men. If thy heart could live locked in the ideal's gold, as high, as happy might thy waking be, if for all time doom could be left to sleep. He spoke, but held his knowledge back from words, as a cloud plays with lightning's vivid laugh, but still holds back the thunder in his heart. Only he left bright images escape. His speech, like glimmering music, veiled with thought, as the wind flatters the bright summer air. Pitiful to mortals, only to them it spoke of living beauty and of present bliss. He hid in his all-knowing mind the rest. To those who hearken to his celestial voice, the veiled heaven's pity throws on future pain. The immortal sanction seemed of endless joy. But Ashwapati answered to the seer. His blistering mind had marked the dubious close. An ominous shadow held behind the words, but calm like one who ever sits facing fate there amid the dangerous contours of earth's life. He answered covered, thought with guarded speech. O deathless sage, who knowest all things here, if I could read by the ray of my own wish through the carved shield of symbol images which thou hast thrown before thy heavenly mind, I might see the steps of a young godlike life happily beginning luminous-eyed on earth, between the unknowable and the unseen, born on the borders of two wonder worlds. It flames out symbols of the infinite and lives in a great light of inner sun. Thank you, Narad.
Very good.
Namaste.
Very good. Very good. You haven't read like that before. I know. You
Thank you,
have,
Narad.
we have to catch the music. The rhythm is there and the music is sort of instilled in the words. Good night. Namaste.
Good night. Namaste. Thank you.